Hi, everyone. Welcome to By Design with Dr. Erika, a show focused on highlighting amazing women who are stepping out of the box, saying screw the expectations of society, and essentially living their life on their own terms and living the life they were designed for. Today, I am joined by Diana Swillinger. Diana is a life coach for women and a business coach for solopreneurs. She became passionate about coaching after conquering her own struggles of trying to be the best and basically trying to do everything right, but all the while still feeling stuck and miserable. Now, Diana is on a mission to help other women unstuck their brains and stop sabotaging themselves. So, Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really have been looking forward to this. I'm glad it's finally here.
Yay! I want you to know I was practicing your last name.
You did good. You did good.
My maiden name is Massenberg, so I'm always like, I have to get people's names right. So
Yes, you did
I'm
well.
glad I got it right. Now, Diana, in that little brief intro, we talked about very subtly how you kind of landed in this space of coaching. But kind of take us back a little bit before you were this amazing coach. What was Diana like back then?
Well, back then, I didn't think life coaching was a real job, so it was way off my radar.
I had those thoughts too.
Whenever I noticed like somebody quit their corporate job and became a life coach, I'm like,
Right.
come on now, that's not
Yeah,
a real job.
like the old commercial. That's not a real puppy. That can't be a
Right,
real
right.
puppy. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So I did a bunch of stuff, and as I look back, I think it was all in my wheelhouse. I worked in the travel industry in customer service, and
Huh.
my husband and I ran a carpet cleaning business, service business, and I did a lot of customer relations
Mm.
and appointments and marketing and the communication stuff that I was good at. And after a while of that, I wanted to get out of the house because I was doing our business at home with all the kids and they went back to school. So I'm like, I was, I'd work the business 20 hours a week. I'm like, I could still do that and get out of the house. So,
Right.
so I found myself working for a small local nonprofit, the
Hmm.
beautification committee for our town. And it was really fun. And I got out there, I met a lot of retired people who wanted to give back to the community and really got engaged. And as the ball was rolling, I'm like, I like this nonprofit gig.
Mhm.
So I ended up working for a larger nonprofit in our town full time and really developed my relationship development skills there because I did fundraising and I did community engagement, really getting to know people and finding out what their passion was, what made them tick, and how I could get them engaged, how I could get them to be a part of our why and also match their why.
Mhm.
So I felt like a part of me was kind of coming to life there. And I even went back to school at the same time, got my degree in the same kind of things I'm good at, customer service. Basically, it's an organizational development degree,
Okay.
management, HR, all that kind of fun stuff.
Gotcha.
And at this point in my life, a few things were happening. First, like you said in my intro, here I'd been trying to do all the right things, raise my kids, have a nice family, go to church, help my husband with his business, give back to the community, work in
Right.
nonprofits, recycle,
Yeah.
smile at the clerk at the store.
Right. Drink 96 ounces of water and
Yes. And my marriage was not happy and I was not happy. I'm like, what in the world is this?
right.
This isn't the American dream. This isn't me living a good life. I didn't even hear people talking about live your best life. If somebody would have said it to me, I would have been like, what the heck is that? Because I am far from that, whatever it
Right.
is.
Right.
And just a couple things in my timeline that happened is my father passed away.
Mm.
I was still at this nonprofit full time in town. And my boss, and how to say this on a podcast, my boss and I struggled with our relationship.
Mm.
Once my father got terminally ill and I was taking care of my kids, working full time and taking care of my father because I was the only daughter in town. So I was grieving after he passed away, was still at work the whole time. And I wasn't at 120%, which is what you need to run at a nonprofit. I was running at like 80%.
Right. Okay.
It just got to a point with my boss where it was not working.
Gotcha.
And I left. It wasn't a graceful leaving.
Okay.
But I left. And it was probably, if I'm a faith person, I really believe that God's got his hand in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when that was happening, I'm like, this has got to be for something good.
Mm-hmm.
I just know it. This is supposed to be happening. And
so
it was
there any fear there at all?
Yes. I don't know if I would say fear exactly. I think it was more like, I don't even know. A little bit of precarious.
Ooh. I like that word.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
Walking a tight wire and you think it's precarious. You're not sure. It's uncertain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I dove into, because I don't know if I'm explaining my timeline well, but this was right when if I wanted to go full-time in school for a semester, it would be just the right amount of credits to finish up my degree.
Okay.
So I left my job in January. I dove right into full-time school. I had been doing it part-time up until then.
Gotcha.
And I finished my degree. And I'm like, now what?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I want to follow God's lead. I think I'm done working for other people right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not going to be good. And so I'm like, I want to do something for myself.
Okay.
And I still hadn't thought of becoming a life coach. But honest to God, in a 2 weeks time period, I had one person, my marriage counselor, tell me I'd be a great counselor. And 2 other people told me I would make a great life coach. And I'm like, what?
Really?
If 3 people in a row in a short time span are seeing this in me, I've got to check it out.
Okay. Now, it's so funny you say that, because a lot of people would have that happen and still kind of dismiss it. Like, it's just coincidence. So how did you internalize that to get to that point of this needs to be addressed, or this is something I should pay attention to?
I mentioned my father had passed away. So at this point it was coming up on a year after he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, because my mom is still alive, and I did lose a sister many years ago, but I didn't do that grieving process well.
Mm.
And so it was hard to see anything good coming out of it at that point. So when my father died, I'm like, I want to do this well. Mm. And it led to me being very contemplative about life. And some of the final things he said to me, I saw him reflecting back on his life.
Mm.
And he was even recounting things in my life. I just got this very contemplative view about, what does this all mean?
Right.
What am I supposed to be doing? Do I need to go in another job where, it's contentious, or will I roll the dice and find a job where it actually is good?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do I want?
Right.
What am I good at? So I had all these things going in my head. And even in one of my final classes for my degree, I think it was my senior capstone class, we were to survey people about ourselves and then write a paper about what we learned about ourselves. So I was very much in tune to what people were saying about what they saw in me.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to leave this stone unturned. Like, what if this was actually it?
Mm-hmm.
What if God was just saying so plainly, Diana, become a life coach?
Right.
And I walked right by. So I wasn't going to do that. And I had been listening to podcasts that summer a lot. And I'm like, all right, there's got to be a podcast about this. So I found several podcasts about life coaching.
Okay.
And some about life coaching and some up from life coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm supposed to become a life coach.
That's awesome.
And I did. I just was like, that's it.
That was it.
I'm starting a business as a life coach, and I have no idea what that means and how to do it, but here we go.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
How did you do that? I mean, how did
Yeah,
you
but
do
isn't
that?
this a little bit like your story? A little bit?
A little bit. Yeah, I took longer. My road was a little bit longer. Like I had sort of the idea and I kind of just didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
Tried to stay where I was in corporate, even though I was not happy and it was not good for my health because I felt like I was stuck there. Like I had these degrees, I have to stay here. Like that's what I'm supposed to do. So I kept those thoughts of what the world says I should do as
Yeah.
opposed to what I was told I was supposed to do. So
Yeah.
it took me maybe 3-4 years to get to that point of this is what I'm doing.
I think it does for all of us. It just comes in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
If I look back at all the prep, I think my entire 4 years at that nonprofit I was at right before I started my life coaching business, I can look at that and see tons of things that happened that were preparing me in the decision,
Mm-hmm.
really. We don't
Yeah.
have time to go through all that, but sometimes we look back in our lives and we're like, oh, I can see how that all unfolded. And
Mm-hmm.
other times we can't. But this one was like that for me. When I pieced it, so people did speak that into me, but I wrote stuff down. I got out my notebook and I'm like, okay, what have I dreamt of doing before?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, my dream jobs were be a worship leader, which is for me a way to engage and encourage people and lift them up in their lives. Another one was to be a teacher. Well, guess what life coaches do half the time?
Mm-hmm.
And another was to be a speaker. Those were my dream jobs.
Really?
And I'm like, holy moly, they're all wrapped up in being a life coach.
That's amazing.
I
That
know.
that one I don't have. I don't have that same story.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah, but maybe if you look back 5 years from now, you'll be like, oh,
Right,
now I see it.
right. Okay, cool. So,
Yeah.
you brought up something in that story that I think a lot of people struggle with, and it came easier to you, I think, because you were open to just what was around you or was being fed into you. But you talked about passion. And I think a lot of people have difficulty finding their passion or their purpose in life. If Are there any things that you could share with a woman that's trying to sort of get to that point of this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I think the first thing would be to perhaps let go of the thought, this is what I'm supposed to be
Oh, what?
doing.
I
I
have to
need
let
to
go of control?
I
What?
need to find what I'm supposed to be doing, as if there is one. It's like thinking I need to find my soulmate. In
Mm-hmm.
the entire earth, there is one person and only one, and I need to find that person. And then I can get married and be happy, or go live my life with that person and be happy. And we approach our passion that way sometimes too, like, oh, there is my passion, the one passion.
Mm-hmm.
In all of the things I could be passionate about in this earth, there's just one. I need to uncover it, find it, do it right, and then I'll be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have lots of passions.
Okay. Do you
And we get to uncover some
Mhm.
and do some, but we can't even do all of them, I think.
Right. Do you think there's a difference between passion and purpose?
Well, for me, I don't know how many of your listeners are believe in a God,
Mhm.
but I think we all have, most of us have some belief that way. And I think if we believe, and for me, I'm just going to talk about my God. If we believe there is a higher being, there is our God, there is our creator, then there's our purpose.
Mm.
We were created. Connect with the creator. Live your life out for that creator. I live my life for God. My purpose is to fulfill the giftedness
Mm-hmm.
that he has put in me to bring more love and goodness to the world. And I don't need to define it down to specific tasks or a certain job or a certain career because I limit myself.
Mm.
If I did that, maybe I'd never would have become a life coach because I didn't think that was a real job.
Well, let's speak to that, because what kind of changed your mind? Because you went from like, I graduated and I had these people say I should be this, to I'm going to do it. Like, what made you say this is a real job?
I think I had, at first I had to look for other people
Mhm.
who were doing it as a real job.
Okay.
Like they had a real business
Okay.
and they were really helping people.
Gotcha.
They weren't just bringing people along, saying good things, just doing positive mindset speak
Mm-hmm.
from a stage and inspiring people, but people's lives are actually changing. And the coach was making plenty of money.
Gotcha.
I didn't want it to be like I have my aspirations too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to go, if my husband and I want to go on a vacation. If we're like, my sister has gone to Turks and Caicos, I don't know how many times. She loves it there. I'm like, I want to go.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there too.
Yeah. So if I could have a job where I'm always paying my bills,
Mm-hmm.
if I want a new iPhone, I can get a new iPhone. And if I want to take my husband to Turks and Caicos, I can take him to Turks and Caicos. And I can help people. I can make a real job of this. But I think what really connected for me, in part coming out of a difficult job experience, and then part because I saw my dad live out things he loved. I'm like, I want to live a life I love. My dad did. He worked 3 days a week as a dentist for 30 years because he only wanted to work 3 days. He wanted to have time for his fun stuff.
Wow.
And he tried parasailing and he got a motorcycle and he lived on a lake here in Wisconsin and he went sailing and he went on at least one vacation a year and he enjoyed his life and he helped people. I'm like, I can do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that schedule. 3 days a week. Yeah.
Right.
Sign me up.
Maybe I'll get to that. I'm at the Monday through Friday right now, but I never, if you have entrepreneurs, listen, I shouldn't say I never work on a weekend. I never take a call on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I won't talk to any clients or anybody that I'm trying to collaborate with on a weekend. I just don't. If I need to do a little, pick up the scraps on a Saturday, I'll do that. Otherwise, the weekend is off.
Okay. I'm getting there. There. I may do some shows on Saturday, but for the most part, I'm working my way to no Saturdays at all. So this will be the first week.
Yay! And are you taking Labor Day Monday off too then? Oh, sorry. This is coming out later, but we're recording at Labor Day. You can edit that out if you want.
Okay. I'm taking it off.
Yay, 3 days.
Yes. And, I'm glad you brought up just entrepreneurs in general, because one thing I want to talk about was, again, you had the full-time with a nonprofit and then you went to being an entrepreneur. And we talked about just sort of the concept of your schedule as an entrepreneur. Was there any other challenge that you found in making that transition?
Well, nobody was holding me accountable.
Mm.
I was holding me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good at making excuses sometimes. If it doesn't seem like it's going to be very comfortable, I'm like, I wonder what happened on the news. Did anybody like my Facebook post? I should probably check my emails. So I think that was the biggest challenge, but I also gave myself a lot of grace along the way because I'm like, dang, I just blew off that whole day. Okay. I did that.
Right.
No use beating myself up for it. Now what? What do I want to do next time I have to do that thing I don't like? For me, log in receipts and even anything with the books. I'm like, I don't want to, even income, which could be fun. Go reconcile your income and see how much money you made. That's fun. Right. Well, but sometimes it's scary too, right? So I think that was my biggest challenge, is like, if I didn't want to do it, I would need to do some checking in with my thoughts and figure out what the heck is going on in there that's leaving me to feel doubt or dread or procrastination or whatever it is, so that I could move past it. And that's part of the work I do as a life coach. I help people understand what thought they're having that's sabotaging the results that they want. So I had to do that work with me too. And then other times I would just, if I couldn't get past it, I'm like, I need a coach.
Did you have a coach when you were starting?
Yeah, well, I'm in a coaching program, and so I can go get coached by a couple people in there. And I one particular call I got on, and I'm like, I feel afraid, or hesitant. That was it. I'm feeling hesitant in my business. I'm hesitant to do things. And we uncovered my most problematic thought, and it was, I don't want to disappoint my husband.
Mm.
She's like, oh, well, that sounds like a good thought, right? You don't want to disappoint your husband. For some people, that would inspire them to work harder. But for you, it's sabotaging you. So she was like, well, maybe you will disappoint him. I was like, what? She's like, well, maybe, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Maybe I will. She's like, so what? I'm like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I just needed someone to help me play with my thought that was keeping me from doing the work I needed to do. Right. And I actually I'm like, maybe I will disappoint him. And then I just moved past it, and I'm like, I got to work. Isn't that weird?
No. It's great.
Like, it's great, but it's like, we never know. We don't always know what I couldn't figure out what thought was keeping me stuck. Mm-hmm. So I got someone to look in my head for me, pull it out.
That's amazing. No, and it's funny. People think that coaches don't have coaches, And,
most coaches have coaches.
Right.
Multiple.
That's why I wanted to make sure we had that conversation, because even though we are coaches and we're helping others, nobody's perfect. We all have our own challenges. We all have things that we're still trying to work through.
Oh yeah. I have a mastermind group of other coaches, and I think I probably get specifically coached one-on-one, at least 6 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So your own accountability was one of the things that you struggled with initially when you started. And you're a mom too, right? So wife, how was that transition from, being full-time employed to now this potentially sporadic income that may happen when you're first starting out?
Yeah, well, I think that fortunately for me, my kids got used to doing a lot of stuff for themselves because prior to me starting my business, I was working 40 hours a week and taking college classes. Mm. So in order to do that, mm-hmm. they had to learn to take care of themselves a lot. I never was much of a cook. Okay. However you would describe that. If you describe pouring minute rice in a can of soup and chicken breast in a pan and put it in the oven, that was my kind of cooking.
Hey, you cooked it.
Yeah, I cooked it. I turned on the oven, I put it in, and yeah.
Even if you put it in the microwave, you cooked it.
I haven't stopped doing that stuff though. My husband picked up a bit of it, but a lot of nights it was like, fend for yourself. Mm. My daughter was 9. She learned how to make ramen, and she would make toast and get out, a deconstructed sandwich and figure things out. Mm. If I couldn't help sometimes. Mm. So I think for me, I know some moms have a hard time with letting go of some stuff. It's not as hard for me. I'm just, like, you guys are going to figure it out. And my kids are older. My youngest was 9 when I started my business.
Okay.
And then I have 3 boys who are older. So I let them figure it out. Sometimes they screwed things up. Sometimes they were late for school. Sometimes they forgot to do homework. Sometimes I forgot to sign a form for them and the teacher called. And I'm like, that's okay. Because I'm figuring out how to run a business and they're figuring out how to be self-sufficient. Mm. And my house isn't clean today, and that's okay. What's my priority for right now? Because it's a lie that we have to do it all. It really is. We don't have to do a freaking thing at all. We don't. I know some people who don't do anything.
Right.
Except what they want. They don't feel any responsibility. I do feel responsibility, but I'm choosing the things that I want to act on, that I feel responsible for. And I'm choosing to let some other things go, but I don't have to do any of it. I get to choose.
Right. No, and I think you bring up some great points. Because I speak to a lot of women, and that's some of their challenges, that they feel like I have to cook dinner for the kids, or I have to, do this and that for the kids. And they kind of deprioritize the things mm-hmm. that they need to get done for their business or for school, whatever it is that they have to get done, because they feel like they have to do these things. And
you don't have to cook dinner for your kids. Announcement, everyone. You don't. You can have pizza delivered every night. You can, they can eat Lunchables every night.
Mhm.
It can happen. They'll eat.
Right.
The kid's hungry. They're going to open the fridge and eat. Everything's going to be fine.
Right. Right. No,
I mean, that's taking it to an extreme, but when you go to that extreme, then you can lighten it up and be like, okay, great. I don't have to cook a vegetable with this meal. It can just be enough that there's some rice and chicken.
But I think also, so I don't have kids, so I don't know the struggle of it all, but I think you bring up a great point, is that you don't have to do everything. You allow them to grow and to learn other things on their own and to be more self-sufficient. I think that's something that people should also think about in that moment. Like, is this an opportunity for my kids to learn something from this situation or to grow from the situation? So
yeah, I think that's letting go of thinking we know the right way that everything should happen.
mm-hmm.
Like if we think the right way is our kids need us to cook dinner for them every night, maybe we're wrong. Maybe the absolute best thing for them and their character development is to have you not cook dinner. It's possible.
Right. Yeah, it could be.
Yep.
Okay. Now I want to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about your business in general and kind of the women, because you help women and you help just people in general from a business perspective. So just kind of give the audience a taste of what your business is like and who would come to you for your services.
Sure. Well, I have two arms to my business.
Okay.
One is me directly coaching my clients in my company. And then the other thing is I do contract coaching. So I've put in lots of hours helping entrepreneurs through my contract coaching. So I'll get picked up by other companies or other coaches to help them coach their entrepreneurs. So I do that a lot. And I help people with growing their business, lead generation, how to identify who their target audience is, the problem they solve, how to speak to audiences about their business, and how to develop a product for sale. All along the way, when I'm helping them, I take every opportunity I find to help them manage their thoughts, just like I did about, you don't have to make dinner.
Right.
Because we get so stuck on our thoughts and thinking we know the way things should go. And if we depart from that, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'll help the entrepreneurs with that along the way as well. And then because I have that experience, I do sometimes get some entrepreneurs in my own coaching program. But the people that I coach most in Diana Swillinger coaching is women, usually in the middle of their life, 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Okay.
Who have, it's like what you said in the beginning, because I'm my ideal client. So I coach people who've been through my struggle. So women who tried to do the right thing all their lives, like I said about me.
Right.
But it's not working. We're still feeling miserable, or we're still overwhelmed or stressed or stuck or dealing with anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And so I do that through a 12-week coaching program. I have 2 levels to it, but we really just start to dive into the thoughts we're thinking that are keeping us from experiencing peace. We all want to feel some peace.
Right.
We don't need to change any circumstances in our life. We don't need to change the people that live in our house. We don't need to change where we live. We don't need to change our job. We don't need to change what's happening in our culture to feel some peace. We can do it by changing how we think about it all. There's a quote in I think it's Hamlet, a Shakespeare play. I never quote it exactly. I have it written down somewhere, but I usually paraphrase it. It goes something like this. There is nothing that is either good or bad until thinking makes it so. So that's kind of the premise of how I coach people. We get so wrapped up in thinking things are bad or it's a problem or it shouldn't be this way, and we're resisting. And we're piling on thoughts that create more anxiety and more frustration. So I just have the most fun time picking apart what's going on in someone's head and helping them fix their life without changing anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Huh.
One of my clients last year, she called me the mind magician I'm like, oh yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking the mind whisperer.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. So with those women that you work with, I have two different thoughts in my head right now. One is, how do you, how do I want to word this? I think sometimes people think, like you said, if I just change this, it'll be better.
Yeah.
So how do you get people to accept and dive into their thoughts? Because it can be a scary thing, and some people may push back and just want a quick answer to their problems. So how do you get people to overcome that sort of roadblock or barrier to wanting to take that deep dive?
Yeah. Well, I think part of what I do is explain to people all along the way that it's little steps. One of my favorite movies we watch in our house a lot is What About Bob? Have you seen
I'm
that?
sailing.
I'm a sailor. I'm sailing. I sail. Well,
Baby steps.
Dr. Leo Marvin gives him the book, Baby Steps.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the same with our thoughts. It doesn't have to be scary to start looking at what's going on in our brain. I don't take anybody to the deep, dark depths. It's a tongue twister of what's going on in there. We don't have to look at the scary thoughts. They're not actually really that scary anyway. They're just words.
Mm-hmm.
We can take a baby step. And I think it feels at first like, okay, we're going to start looking at thoughts. Oh, I'm going to have to change all my thoughts. No, you don't have to change any of them. You don't have to change a darn thought if you don't want to. But if you want to feel a little bit better, you can pick one. And we can't go from I hate myself to I love myself, which is kind of what I compare to if you're feeling bad about something and then you're scrolling Instagram and you're like, ooh, love yourself just the way you are. Okay, I'm better now. No, we're like, I still don't like my stomach that's hanging over my pants and my stretch marks. I mean, I kind of believe it, but I don't, So what's a baby step? We don't have to go from I hate myself to I love myself. Maybe we can just take the word hate out and just be like, I am myself. I mean, that's true, right? I am myself. That's true. That feels better than I hate myself. I still don't feel great because I kind of have some underlying ideas that maybe as I am at myself isn't okay, but it's a relief not to have to hate myself. So we just take a little baby step off of it. It's not scary.
Right.
It's just They're just words.
Right. So what are your thoughts about positive affirmations? That just comes to my head now. Do you think they're valuable? Do you think that they...
Well, I get, usually what I tell people is those positive, I don't say positive affirmations. What do I call them? I don't remember, but all those happy memes on Facebook, maybe I do call them positive affirmations. They don't always work. A lot of times they don't work. Do you ever notice that?
Oh, well, I completely agree.
Maybe they work for a little while. And for some people, if you just repeat them every day, eventually you step into it and believe it. That can happen, but it's my experience most of the time it doesn't. And here's why. I really said it before. Because you don't believe it.
Right. It feels false. It feels very fake at first when you start doing it.
Yeah. So sometimes you just have to maybe just admit, okay, today, I did a drastic one. I hate myself. I love myself. Okay, today, I admit it. I'm choosing the thought, I hate myself. You could even start there. You've got to sometimes, now some thoughts you could just be like, I don't know. I'm trying to think one. What's one of your thoughts? Do we dare?
You put me on the spot. My thoughts are...
Just about anything. What's one of your business thoughts right now?
I suck at social media.
Oh, okay. So that's a thought. I might be able to just move you off of today. We might not need to take a baby step.
Okay. Let's go.
Why do you think you suck at social media?
I have never liked it. I think it's my scientific mind. It's like I want 1 + 1 = 2. And I feel like sometimes you post things and you don't get that return that you expect. And so it's always this game of numbers and trying to figure it out. And there's no real system or equation that works.
Right. Is that actually true? There's no system or equation that works?
For me, I'm sure
Okay.
people have found things that work for them. I just haven't found that.
For some people, there are systems and equations that work.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Maybe you could become a person where your systems and equations work.
That is true.
That's true too.
Yeah.
When you think I suck at social media, how do you feel?
Powerless.
Yep. This is like rapid coaching.
I know, right?
So you think I suck at social media, you feel powerless. What do you do about your social media ads?
I just make more.
So you just keep doing the same thing that's not working?
I make more and I like switch it up. I'll do more. I'll change the frequency on the different platforms. I'll go from doing quotes to doing tips. But yeah.
So you just keep taking stabs at it without developing a system that works.
Yeah, because I haven't really gotten one yet.
Right. So you're kind of fulfilling your belief. I suck at social media. I feel powerless. I just keep trying a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And your result is you don't land in the you suck at social media.
Right.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I need to change my thoughts.
Yeah.
And say more of like, I am a work in progress, trying to create a system that is useful for my business in the social media space.
Yeah. Well, do you think ultimately you could figure it out?
Yeah, eventually. It's my own fault.
Yeah. Well, you could just change your thought from I suck at social media to
I'm learning social media.
I'm figuring social media out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think I'm figuring social media out, how do you feel?
I feel less pressured to be perfect because it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe you feel a little more capable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm figuring it out because you've figured stuff out before.
Exactly.
So if you believe I'm figuring it out,
Yeah,
you
it does
feel
make
more
sense.
capable. Yeah.
Yep.
And your result will ultimately be you figure it out.
Yeah. Awesome. That was laser coaching at its finest. Thank you very much.
Boom. So
We didn't
I don't
plan that at all.
want to ever check back with you in a few months and you're like, I still suck at social media. No, you don't. You're figuring social media out. You can just drop that thought because it's not as painful. It's not as deep. It's not as rooted in other things.
Right.
But it's totally not useful to you. So you can just, I just don't do that. Your brain will keep offering to you that you suck at social media. You could be like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not even true. I'm figuring social media out. That's what I'm going with.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. That works.
I think that may have been the first laser coaching that we had on the show.
I think that's the first time I coached somebody that fast. You're a great student.
I tried. Oh gosh. Okay. So now we talked about that part. I forgot how we even got there. But
I don't know. We'll go wherever. This is fun.
I wanted to come back to the women that you work with because we started talking about, in our careers previously and how we kind of stayed there. I think we have an idea, but I want to ask this question specifically. Why do you think women stay so stuck in where they are and just afraid to sort of venture out or take a step out?
It's the same thing that just happened in your coaching. It has to do with the thoughts that we're thinking. Right. Because you could have very well said, when you had the thought, I suck at social media, you might have felt stuck. Or you still feel powerless and you just go keep taking a stab at social media and you're kind of spinning your wheels, which is stuck. If you think of a truck in the mud spinning its wheels, it's stuck. So we have all sorts of thoughts that keep us feeling stuck. It could be, it's not supposed to be this way. Or I don't have a choice. Or I don't know. I don't know. That's a big one.
That is a big one. Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, you're stuck because you just keep thinking, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or you think there's nothing I can do. I'm powerless. And a lot of these thoughts put us into like a victim mentality where we're a victim of somebody else's choices, or we're a victim of self-imposed limits
Mm-hmm.
when we think we don't know or we can't do it, or it's not supposed to be this way. I'm a victim of my boss, or I'm a victim of time, or I'm a victim of having too many things on my to-do list. All of that will keep us stuck. So we need to find a way to let go of all of those lies. It's not supposed to be this way is a lie. It was always supposed to be this way because it is. It is the way it is. It wasn't supposed to be different than it is right now, wherever you're at, wherever you're feeling stuck. You're not stuck. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Why can't we just believe that? Especially if we have some faith. Do we have some faith that there's a God that has some sort of plan? If we think we don't have a choice, it's a lie. If we think we have to do it, it's a lie. If we think there's nothing we can do about it, it's a lie. There's always something we can do. And then the biggest one, when I said that, I don't know, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. Lie. My favorite thing to do, I learned this from my coach with, I don't know. She's like, well, what if you did know? Because I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. Or you could be, I don't know what to do with social media. Well, what if you did know? Then what? I just don't know. Well, what if you had to take a guess? Okay, well, if I had to guess, and then, we start coming up with ideas.
Right.
Or if you, of all those things, if you did know, and what if you had to take a guess? Is there one you'd want to pick to do right now? Yeah, I'd pick that one. Okay, you do know what to do then. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning with the purpose and the passion. And we think, oh, there's one passion for me. I've got to find it. There's the one purpose. There's the one soulmate. There's the one way to tackle social media. Maybe the way you're doing social media, Erika, is exactly the way you're supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to be trying all sorts of different stuff.
Could be.
You don't suck at it at all. You're doing everything you need to do right now to learn all the stuff you need to learn to put it to work. So all of a sudden the algorithms start clicking. So we're not stuck. We're always moving forward. Time is always moving forward. We're always learning. Especially the people that listen to your podcast. We want to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
We believe that there is a design for our lives. We believe there's a way to move forward. But it doesn't mean that there's only one specific path. It means we design it as we go. We figure it out.
And it's so funny as you're saying that, because I'm thinking about the word perfection and perfectionism. And I don't think I had thought about perfectionism in the concept of being stuck. But
perfectionism will keep you way stuck.
Right, because you're looking for that right answer, that one correct way. So you may have thoughts in your head of, I can do it this way or this way, but I can't move because
I don't know the right way.
Which one's right? Yeah.
Guess what? Doesn't matter. Pick one and go.
Right.
Could be whatever you pick is going to be what was supposed to happen anyway. We got to lighten up on ourselves. We got to take the drama out of it. Like, it has to be done this way. It doesn't. It can be done all sorts of ways.
Yeah. You could create a whole new way.
Yeah. We put so much pressure on ourselves. Just lighten up.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Diana.
You're welcome. I could talk to you all day.
Oh, goodness. Yes, it's been fun. It's fun. I always run out of time on these shows, and it makes me so mad.
Oh, we'll just talk again sometime. I'll have you on my podcast, and we'll just talk. And
I love it. So let me ask you one, last serious question.
Okay.
As you reflect over the past, let's say, because you've had your coaching business for 2 years now, right? 2 or 3 years?
Yes. Yeah,
So,
a little over 2 years.
Okay. So over that time frame, what is Diana most proud of?
Oh, I did it. I did not walk away.
Yes.
When I faced doubt,
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with it. I embraced it. When I faced fear, I embraced it. When I decided I was going to do this, I didn't stop. I remember being in the mountains of Colorado with my friend. Both of our teenage sons, she's a high school friend, so she talked me into bringing my son out there and take him to the mountains. And so we dropped him off at the camp in the Rocky Mountains, and she took me over the pass. We're up driving over this pass, and I'm like probably a little altitude high, depleted oxygen. I wasn't used to it. And feeling a little queasy, motion sick and altitude sickness. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start a business. This was about a month before people said, you'd make a great life coach. So it happened in succession, but I'm like, I'm starting my own business and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to be successful. And she said the best thing she could ever say. I believe you. You're going to do it. I'm like, yes, I am. And I am most proud of that moment happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I never looked back.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt comes.
Yeah.
Fear comes. I'm like, bring it. That's part of building the next chapter of my life. That's part of doing something good in this world. It's part of stepping out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. Fear and doubt. Yes, I have those all the time come into my head.
Yes. Yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. And they just come right back out. Have to kick them out.
Or bring them along. All right. I'm going to doubt myself and do it anyway.
Right.
Come on along.
In spite of it. Yes. 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 That's how I was when I first started the show. Because the show came about I was planning on doing it, but not as soon. And it came about by accident because I have a big mouth. And I was like, I'll just do a show next week or something like that. And I was terrified.
Oh, yeah.
First episode, but
I do that strategy too. I speak it and then I'm like, dang, now I got to do it.
And they got to do it. Yeah. Well, Diana, thank you so much for being here. I can't let you go yet because we have one final part of our show that I ask of all my guests.
All right.
And it is called the Fab Four.
Yes, I've heard of this.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I watched some of your episodes, so I've seen this happen.
Okay, so you're ready. You're ready. So you know the deal. I'll just jump right in.
It feels like a game show.
I know, right?
Ding, 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 ding.
Like music or something.
Yeah.
About that and get some music for this part. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Superpower. I just claim it already. I'm the mind magician.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
You are the mind magician. Okay.
I see into the brain.
I know. You saw mine.
I did a little bit. You let me in. It's mutual. You let me in and then I do my magic.
Okay. I like it. All right. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, this shouldn't surprise anyone because I mentioned my dad a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have dinner with my dad. And I might as well mention my sister.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away 18 years ago. That would be really awesome. And then I think I'm going to have to go with The Rock. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Because I keep saying,
Expect it.
The Rock for president. Because I'm like, who do I really want for president? If I could go write somebody in, because, most of us aren't super happy with the choices. Mm-hmm. If I could just write in anybody and it actually happened, who do I think would nail it?
The Rock.
I think he would.
Okay.
I'll talk to him about it at dinner. Yeah, he is generous. He's kind. He's patient. He says a lot of wise things. He cares.
Okay. I was curious, were you talking about like Dwayne or The Rock as like...
Well, Dwayne.
I love it. I was not expecting that.
Okay. You're going to go write him in on your ballot now, right? I got to start a campaign.
Right. Dwayne for 2020.
Yep.
All right. If you had to pick a song to represent your life, what would that be?
I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but I guess I have a teeny bit of arrogance, so I did it my way. I did it my way. And maybe that's part of, I was never a big people pleaser, but you know, I'm sick of trying to be who people think I should be. I'm me, dang it.
No,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love that. You did
Yeah.
enjoy it. I want to sing it, but I don't think people would appreciate me.
I did it my way.
Oh,
There we go.
wait a minute. You didn't tell me you had a voice.
I was a worship leader in a former job. I didn't mention that one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe I did, but yeah.
I didn't know there was singing involved. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. The last part. Finish the following statements. I love.
My family.
Oh, yes. Families.
It's probably not very original, but
No.
that's where it's at.
Okay. I dream of.
Lately, I'm dreaming of turquoise waters in the Caribbean. Remember I mentioned Turks and Caicos? I've been watching all the beach shows on HGTV.
Oh my gosh.
I want to buy a condo down there somewhere.
I want
Dreaming.
to own a resort in Jamaica.
Ooh, I will come visit.
That's what I want to do.
Been there a couple times to Negril. Love it.
Yeah, I'm dreaming about that. We were there last winter.
Ugh.
So, okay.
We're dreaming of the turquoise waters together.
Right, exactly. All right, last one. I am.
Me.
Yes.
I'm
And
me.
No way.
That used to be my, you could put a little motto on your Facebook page, your person. I used to have that. I am me.
Yes.
And there's no one else I'd rather be. I used to want to be all sorts of different people, but I'm me now and I like it.
I like it too.
Oh, thank you.
Diana, thank you so much for being here. People want to stay connected with you. How can they do so?
Well, I think if you liked anything I said or you want to hear more about the things I teach and coaching, you can go check out the Renew Your Mind podcast. That's on iTunes and all the other places. And then my website is my name. So, well, actually, I think we were talking about the RYM podcast resource page. So I think rympodcast.com.
Okay.
Will take people right to me or my name, dianaswillinger.com. Have fun spelling that one.
Don't worry, I'll put it in the notes for you guys. Don't worry about it.
Yay. Drop a link.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you. It was a pleasure having you on the show. It was a joy. And thank you guys for watching. As always, if you missed any of the previous episodes, head over to drerikabydesign.com and be sure to sign up for our By Design Digest so you will stay up to date with everything that's going on and you won't miss any of the juicy details and events that are coming up. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. See you next Thursday. Bye.